Hello ladies, hello gentlemen, and welcome to Half the Race Gone for the TSR GT86 Cup. The 6th round of action, the 6th round it is, here from Bathurst, Australia. One of the, if not the round of this cup that I've been the most excited about. It's always action-packed when the drivers have to survive the mountain, because let's be honest, let's face it, that is usually what's going on around here. Evening hippie head, what a pleasure to have you along. And to anyone else joining in early days, well, it won't be too long before we have qualifying session getting underway. And yet again, as with before with this series, quite a strong grid on display. We have two TX3 drivers, one of them being Sparks, or Bottle Sparks, but just Sparks, and he set a blistering lap there with a 2:10.6. Martin has been having a bit of moments here and there. The Dutchman, the Dada. We have Aura as well, parked alongside the back straight there, and it's Welsh, of course, for TSR alongside G5 Black, the Swedish survivor it is. In the Subaru, of course, this series is the only one-make series that brings you 3 different manufacturers of cars, except for perhaps any Super Formula. I could probably be made to eat my words, but I won't. It is still the only 3 manufacturer one-make series, because we have Toyota, Subaru and Scion represented. We have all 3 compounds of tires available to the drivers, but only 1 set of each is allowed to be used. Hey, yeah, where is the lump, the lovely lump? Is there in the pits, hanging out as you do, as they do, as they do. Schosse, of course, with us yet again here, and Grosso as well. Strong showing, Schosse, and has been going very, very well for the last couple of races. Of course, Halbstark, will he go Vollstark tonight? And then we also do have Splurge. But I think we're gonna be in for an action-packed round indeed. So, and we are on time for qualifying. And here, of course, Stick, Sparks, Hash, and then iEpic's high definition. We'll have Limitless joining us as well. Just it has to get married and have kids. That would be beautiful indeed. Evening, David. Nice to have you along. Welcome to. That goes for one tuning in now. Just about time for qualifying session here. Martin has yet to better the practice best time set by Bottle Sparks, 2 minutes 10.6. Looking to go swift. Mind you, I think Sparks is running no ballast here. So we're on board with Welsh as he comes across the mountain here. Heavy braking zone. Must admit that I don't know the corner names here at Bathurst, which I'm quite ashamed, but it's also quite shameful that we haven't featured more of this track on the channel yet. I think we've only had perhaps 1, perhaps 2. I think we've had 2 races, but it's no more than that, and that is a little bit of a shame, I think. So surely we'll be noting that duly, sending that into the race organizers. Hello GTR, hello Martin. Good to see you, gentlemen. Always the pleasure. Owen Splurt not having obliged to the weak ABS. It's interesting. T5 having done well so far as well. And as mentioned, we are just about to get qualifying underway, thus beginning the Super Pole session. And that is certainly one of the more difficult ones. Only one lap is given. Such a long track, so many places to make mistakes. Nice weekend, David. Thank you. And that's duly noted here as T5 Blacks having a little bit of an off. Botanizing the garden, as the old Danish Formula 1 commentator Klaus Borg used to say. It was a famous expression of his back in the 1990s. And one that I have yet to hear anyone translate into any other language, so perhaps I shall be the first to do so. Please don't go botanizing, guys. Or perhaps do go. I don't know. It's not Rallycross here, as iApex is making his way down the mountain into what must be... That's not... Is that the dipper? No, that's the hairpin. The dipper is the two corners before that. Or is that even before? I don't know. It's all downhill. It's all very technical indeed. And then here on the Conrad Straight, across or over the crest, and then through the kink. Taking a bit of time for me to warm up here tonight. I think as do the drivers and the organizers, making sure everyone's weights are in check as they're supposed to be. And I'm just here with a late cup of coffee. That is kind of a late cup of coffee. And then I'm going to work tomorrow early as hell. But you need to stay woke for this. And there is no better thing than coffee. So ready for that coffee sponsorship. And in the meantime, well, let me summon up the GT Planets page, so we can have a look at the championship standings here coming into round 6. I know as much that Schotte is still leading. He drove a very, very good race last time out at Brands Hatch. We actually ended up fighting for the win in the end. Schotte is leading Aura by 28 points indeed, and with 25 being given for a win. Sure is a dominant gap. We have a Stick in 3rd place with 48 points. The Joe 2 guy, Joe of the Fire, 4th with 39. Dade Martin with 38. Obi-Wan on 37. Then we have Wake on 32. The lovely brown lump, that is Dr. Hash, in 8th place with 31 points. We have Jimmy of the TSR gang, of course, in 9th with 24. Welsh down in 10th with 21 points indeed. And that is the start of qualifying. So let's immediately hop on to track. David calling on Martin being the favorite to win. It's quite possible Martin could very much be up there if Sparks can keep the pace alive. Well, I certainly call him to be at the pointy end of affairs. Note what tires the drivers are using here. Grosso starting on the hard compound. We've got the Halbstärk on the mediums. We've got a couple of soft runners as well. Very, very mixed grid indeed. And mind you, the drivers will be starting the race on the same compound as they end qualifying on here. So that's an interesting one to see. And of course, another thing that's worth noting as we've had changing tire degradation grades here. Of course, running 2 times fuel for the entire series, but running 4 times tires here, and that might be why we're seeing some drivers opt for keeping the softer tires for the end of the race. Let's have a look through the field here. We have Aura on the softs. We have that's Halbstärk, of course, in the coffee car. Yes, my favorite. He is on the mediums. Hash on the hards. And that is Grosso, the Portuguese, on hard tires as well. T5 is on the mediums with Schosse starting out on the softs here, so he's turning it around compared to last time out. We've got Martin on hard tires as well. Very, very interesting here. Same goes for Stick in the Aqua machine. He goes straight through the chicane there. And then Sparks on mediums. It's very mixed indeed. That's Splurge, Welsh, and then Sparks. Now that's Sparks all the way back there. That's Limitless on the softs. Welsh is on the softs as well. Splurge on the medium. So that's a very, very mixed choice of tires for qualifying. The race will be 35 laps. My name ain't my name isn't Jan, by the way, or Jan. It's Hesse, if you'd really want to know my personal. Anyways, I've been playing iRacing, so it's no harder than going in checking it out in there. But cheers, David. But it is 35 laps of racing, so we're looking at an hour and 20 minutes or so. A pretty long one. It's going to be an exhausting one, I'm sure. Let's hope it's not going to be too tough on my boys here. Let's go. Well, not necessarily on board. Well, that's not necessarily a bad idea, I think. Yeah, that's true. An hour and 10. Pretty spot on. Aura really maximizing the given space. Throwing it down the mountain. Oh, yet again, really bringing it to the limit. And I want to cue that that 80s song that was in Scarface as well. Don't remember who did it, but you know what I'm talking about. Down the Conrad Straight. And this chicane, is this the chase? There's something called the chase. I'll have to look it up for next time. Anyways, Aura about to complete the first flying lap. And in turn, Aura's only flying lap. So it has to count. What's it gonna be? 2 minutes 11. It's almost 2 minutes 12. Dead. And that's 1.5 faster than Halbstag. It's 2.5 seconds faster than Dr. Hash. 3.3 up on Grossover. Those were running the hards as well. Here comes Schosse, but a second down on Aura indeed. Stick is next up. I think he was running the hards as well. He certainly was. Just about notches down Martin, who's somewhat down the order as well. Welsh goes 6th fastest there. Splurge somewhat down the order. iEpics must have had some kind of moment there. Picked up some damage as well. So last to cross the line is Sparks indeed. And what's it gonna be? On the softs, he's picked up some damage. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. Stop doing that. Thanks, DS4. Let's see if we can do anything about that. So 5 minutes of a break, and just getting my joystick fixed so it doesn't bug out, and take us through the entire list of drivers very quickly. Hello, Axel. I'm doing nicely. I'm doing very nicely. Started my new job yesterday, actually, so I've had my second day at a new job today, which is pretty exciting. It's always hear Stella, the Have the Race dog, in the background complaining of the fact that my girlfriend has just put on her harness. What job? Well, I work as a teacher's assistant at a special school for kids on the autism and ADHD spectrum. So it's a bit of a long one in the end, but it's an exciting job, and it's I think it's really nice as well. 10th grade is going to do sim racing at an esports center this Friday. I hope I get to go along with them. Maybe I can teach him a thing or two. As if, but it'll sure be fun. So let's just have a look at how that qualifying panned out. Sparks, who had some kind of bottled moment there on the lap, sure had potential to do more or better. The ways of Murray. I hope I can get some young hearts lit with interest in motorsports. That sparks Guten Tag. Expecting everyone to be German for some reason. But I wanted to go through the grid. I never got to do so. I will do so now for you, ladies and gents. Aura taking pole position with Schosse joining him on row 1. No reason to watch those cars at the moment. We've got Limitless and Halbstag on row 2 with the aforementioned Sparks and Dr. Hash on row 3. Hash on the hard tires, but we've got a lot of hard runners here. So interesting to see just how they fare along. T5 in 7th, and Welsh in 8th as well, with Ingrosso 9th, Stick in 10th, Martin down in 11th place, then Splurge, iEpics, and then Jimmy's just joined in, and I guess Jimmy should still be able to do a lap. Hey Netso, nice to have you along. Welcome, mate. I hope you are enjoying your Tuesday evening. holiest of evenings in the realm of TSR, that's for sure. When it comes to the stream. I hope you're all well. I hope you've been enjoying the weekend that was. And I hope your Mondays wasn't too shoddy, as they tend to be. So, what I expect to be about 3 minutes to race start. If Jimmy wants to put in a qualifying lap, I think he has to get a move on, but he spinned it. He spinned it on the out lap. Of course, it's probably been in that club of cars. They're all ghosted. It wouldn't have counted for anything anyways, and the final is underway. The race is gonna start in just about a few moments time. Let's hope that we won't be hit by whatever strange lobby issues befell us for the Sunday's IGTL race, where we also lost our damn replay feature. 14 cars on the grid in the end, with iEpix Jimmy at the bottom of affairs. We have Schosse and Aura at the front. It's all German. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 Germans at the front of affairs. Indeed, 35 laps to do. And when they go green, they'll be off. And there it is. Of course, the false start check is on here, so might see some action coming into turn 1 here. Aura looking to defend the inside line. They're Hash with quite a bit of ascent up into 3rd place, and someone's off on the outside. That's Welsh. And Nachi there. That's Limitless and Hash going at it. The TX3 car sliding in ahead there. Welsh now moving along the outside. Altstack having lost positions. And it's Spark in 7th place at the moment here. Oh, and Welsh. Oh, there's absolute murder between, I think that was Sparks and some of the TSR guys. Of course, an instant second look as Halfstacks also sent into the wall. And we will need to see some respectful coffins. Now let's see what happened here to Welsh. Just outbreaks himself, I think, and then he picks up. He collects Splurge in that situation. That's very unlucky. Is that Splurge or Sparks? I think that actually that is. Was that Sparks? I'm quite sure that was indeed Sparks. Very unlucky indeed. Let's have another look on board. Here in the situation. Just becoming an absolute passenger. Poor luck for Sparks, indeed, having been by far the quickest in practice, and then having had a big moment in qualifying, and now also starting on the softs and picking up damage here early on. That's really not good luck whatsoever. Here out in front, Aura with 0.4 of a second's lead down to Schosse, and they're Limitless, completing the German podium trio here at the moment as the first lap is about to come to a close. And we do have Halfstack in 4th place now in the coffee car, leading Hash in 5th. Then it's Splurge and Sparks. Sparks, who opted to keep on running here. T5 is hanging on to 8th place at the moment. And it is still that all German top 5 domination here at the moment. And I think someone will be happy that this is not Nations Cup. Someone will be quite sad to see that this is not a Nations Cup event indeed. Let's us never see such domination, please. And I would never be expecting us to that would require a nation of people without jobs, more or less. Not saying that anyone who's fast on GT Sport doesn't have a job, just saying that there seems to be a correlation between when young people don't really have enough to do, need to kill some time. Oh, here is. I need to be less less deep and more in the action. Here is Splurge has a huge moment. And how Splurge hangs on to P6 in that situation, I just don't know, but I'm sure... Well, I was sure that there was some damage picked up. Seems to be it wasn't so. Just collects the wall ever so slightly there. Not enough to pick up damage then. And then cuts in across. Just getting wide. And still hanging on to 6th place here as... Oh, Shutter has lost a little bit of ground ahead. And Limitless is through up into the lead. Must have gotten a much better exit. And then paired with the slipstream. Broken controllers on the first lap. There must be some proper naughty glossaries being fired from some of those TSR cars. Oh, Halbstack. Halbstack has lost ground. Halbstack down into 7th place now. And thus the old German top 5 is now broken. And it's not me trying to make World War II references, it's just randomly so that it's 2 Brits to follow, making their way back up towards the train of the England. I mean, you can't make that shit up, come on. And here it is, Splurge now seeming though to be blocking off Sparks, even with the damage that Sparks is running with at the moment. Then we have T5 now in P7, also having gotten past Halbstack. Question is, did Halbstack pick up damage? No. Oh, Halbstack getting very loose though. That's through Skyline, according to Mr. Kendall, and I'll take that advice any day. And Martin, though, also having picked up places. He's up into 9th place. Already here on lap 3, 12 seconds down. And that looked like a like a handbrake turn, more or less, from the Dutchman. He's back up with the leading battle here. Oh, I think Aura has had a moment as well. And now Shoss is up through, but more importantly, Limitless is really looking to break away. Just gonna have a quick look at the 2 cars, seeing as how Aura has picked up some damage. I take it would have been over the mountain this last time. Very nice drift indeed. Well, that's poor luck for Aura. Was looking really strong until now, and now it's Shutter. Ever so fast, but especially ever so consistent. Always up there. With this 4 times tire wear, it will be interesting to see for just how long the hearts can be kept alive. Hello, Swablu. Good evening, mate. It's nice to have you along. I hope you are well and good. Further down the order, Dr. Hash is beginning to be ever so slightly on an island, and then it's still the train forming behind Splurge. Well, that's Sparks and T5. T5 really looking to have the pace at the moment here, as Sparks is now having the run on Splurge. That sounds weird. Those 2 sounds like they're a weird kind of set of brothers or something, but that was Splurge getting very loose. And as a result, did just get compromised there. Oh yeah, indeed. Shasigo. Of course, that's Netso Racing, the 2 Netso cars. They're represented by Schutte and Grosso. Grosso in 11th place. Even I'm turning German. But then Grosso in 11th, chasing Mr. Stick at the moment. Martin, they're 9th. 8th place, that's Halbstag on the mediums. And let's see how it's panned out. We would expect it to be Limitless on the softs, leading Schosse and Aura on the softs as well. Then Dr. Hash on the hards, and that is hugely impressive actually. That's a big slide from Dr. Hash, but Dr. Hash very impressive on the pace. And with track position at the moment at least to do well. Here it's Aura just about a second behind Schosse, not really within striking distance. Sparks, it's a bit of another story I think, but that damage must be slowing down the car. Although of course there's a lot more grip than for Dr. Hash at the moment. He is making inroads. Oh, but there goes Deep. Deep on corner exit. That opened the door for Sparks on the softs. And the Brit is up into 4th place. The question is, those 12 seconds. He's also on the soft there, and Hash almost lost it on the outside coming over Skyline. T5 having gone through on Splurge as well. And now bearing down on Dr. Hash in front. And the prophecy shall come true here, I think. Shall it be T5? P5 for T5 it is. As he gets the run. Down the Conrad straight it is. Of course, Dr. Hash isn't gonna budge whatsoever here. Through the kink they go. But it's T5 with the inside line, and that becomes impossible to defend, especially against the car with a grip advantage there on tires. It'd be interesting to see, as I also mentioned earlier, for just how long they'll be able to keep the softs alive out in front here. It's Halbstag and Splurge going for it. And I think that's Halbstag going past. Let's just have another look here. That indeed it is. Very nice move from Halbstag. Through Hell Corner. Isn't that it? Martin there still in 9th place, having kept, let's just see, having kept his nose clean indeed on the hard tires, and down by 20 seconds. That'll be a lot of catching up late race. And as with just over 10 minutes worth of racing having been put in by now, already a lot of stuff having happened, I think I saw a bit of dirt being kicked up there, and that it indeed. Oh, very nice catch from Splurge in the Logitech machine with that very nice HTRG sponsorship on the rear. But have a look here. How does he manage to keep that on track? I'm not entirely sure. Oh, well kept. Well kept indeed. That's of course helped Martin close the gap. That could have been Splurge, the deceased, and he should have locked on with Splurge, the third. Next time he raced, had he not saved that one, it would have been a big one indeed. Well kept. Well kept. By now, look at this pace advantage for Limitless at the moment, with a 9-second advantage over Aura and Schosse. Aura having gotten past on Chasse as well. Running with the damage, so really I think that weight isn't helping Chasse along a whole lot. And of course, we also know Chasse as being very good on the tires. And then Sparks, T5, Dr. Hash, Halbstack, and Splurge in the top 8. Further down, it's still Martin in 9th place. It's still Stick in 10th and Grosso 11th. It's iEpics in 12th. It's Welsh 3rd, 13th, of course. And Jimmy, who didn't even get to do a lap of warm-up, no practice, no qualifying, no nothing. Just came straight into race. And that is indeed brutal. I think he's had some kind of bad luck along the way. Sure, the car looks to be telling the tale of a rough story indeed. So it's still Limitless at the head of affairs, and that gap is quickly growing. Not just like it's quickly growing, that gap is exploding at the moment. And at the same time, it seems to be coming together behind Sparks at the moment, closing the gap, and it's being done so for a couple of laps now. T5 on the mediums here, keeping up very well. And it looks to me that the advantage of the soft tires could be fading away in favor of those starting on the harder compounds. Mind you, they also have an additional advantage to pull out later in the race. So T5 still just following along, keeping Sparks for company. Got a very good run out of the first corner up ahead. I think it's Chasse who's got it lined up for an attempt on Aura. They're getting squeezed onto the outside and just about not making it in time. They're gonna go too wide all the way through here. Oh, Chasse keeping it. And back there's an overtake as well for T5. We'll have another look shortly as the battle goes on between the two Germans here. Chasse does go through at the end. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff indeed. Still running close is Aura. T5 with a brilliant turn of speed here. The Swede just eating in that gap in no time whatsoever. That's wall contact for Aura yet again. And that isn't gonna help him along whatsoever. I don't think any additional damage though was picked up in the situation, but having contact, I think, with the wall there again. Just a slight tad. Could have just been the car acting up under braking. Let's have another look at the T5's overtake on Sparks. That was also pulled off in this braking zone. Very nice move from the Swede to make that one stick, as the battle was raging up in front. And with all this going on behind, Limitless is now pulling away in the lead with a 14-second advantage as we're on lap 8, coming on to lap 9 of the race. That is surely gonna be hard for anyone to do anything about, especially given that so many of the other drivers fell into bad luck early on. Here is Aura pitting in, first of, well, anyone to do so at any point of this race. But a last lap being a 2:14 or 2:15, that's it is disastrous lap time. And Limitless is really on a roll at the moment. Back here is Chasse still hanging on to second place. It is beginning to be a train that's forming behind the championship leader. That means he's also the one carrying most success ballast. So we're on board here for the first time tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you not the wang cam, the scrub cam as he hits the outside wall, but no, it is the wang cam as he comes across the mountain indeed. Yeah, Jimmy, that looked like you had an amazing time. Just really a race to remember. And on a less ironic note, I'm sorry to see that. It looked like a frustrating affair, to say the least here, as Schosse plows into the wall there and picks up some damage. Just turn that camera around and have another look at what the German championship just lost it over the curbs there, and nothing he could do to save it. And that isn't gonna help him along in any way. Evident by the way that T5 was just cruising straight past. And now Sparks next up to have a go at Schosse. Hash, a little bit of a loose moment, but Hash very much in contention for top places here, mind you. Hash is the only one in this bunch running on the hard tires, and to have been able to actually keep up, of course, all of the soft runners there right in front of him running damage, of course easing the task for the doctor, but that doesn't make it easy by any means whatsoever, and he's really been putting in a great drive so far, and they have all the advantages later in the race here with 17 seconds behind. Isn't that bad at all, and he's actually beginning to close some gaps here and there, and now really putting on the pressure as Sparks, Schosse himself, and Halbstag is right on the chase there. Halbstag and the coffee car having contact with the outside wall, but managing not to pick up any damage from him. And that's nice to see. And indeed, Jimmy, once the flow and the concentration is broken, it can be so hard getting back into it. Especially when you know more or less that the race is just over. Paired with the fact that, yeah, we'll practice, or at least, I don't know if you practiced earlier, it might be, but I know how it is. Can I have a guess that it was something with the kids and then just able to make the race? That's tough odds at any time. Was that Schosse getting past on Dr. Hash? No, that wasn't Hash. That was actually, I think it must have been Hash actually having a little bit of a look on Schosse. Because he was, of course, behind. Oh, he had to really stamp on the brakes. He was looking to send it up the inside there. Schosse already defending his inside line up into turn 1. There isn't going to be any defending that. That's Hash up into P4. That's pretty good. I was about to say that's pretty good for Dr. Hash. It's pretty good. Pretty good for anyone here as Halbstag cruises past on Schosse as well. I do had Auer hitting in early, and then some might deem that too early, as we're about a third through the race. And out in front by 15.8 seconds. It is limitless, though the rate that I think the advantage was increasing at has stagnated somewhat. Limitless taking big risk there over the mountain. Here's T5. Now running in second place. And having put in a nice little 2-second gap down to Spark. Spark to absolutely flying down the descent here. And then I think might have been so slightly collecting the inside wall before. Having an absolute send. Yeah, that's a slight clip. Still, that damage for Sparks is really losing Sparks a lot of time. It's like half a second on the Cooper Straight, the Conrad Straight alone, and it's gonna make it difficult. They're hash P4 at the moment. Halfstack, Shosset and Martin up into 7th now. Gaining contact with the rear part of this bunch as well. That's gonna aid him along. That's only gonna aid him along. Martin actually not more than a couple of seconds down on Dr. Hash as well. So the Dutchman is by no means in a bad position in the end. Could be in for a very good result here. And then it did look like a tough qualifying session. Splurge having fallen down into 8th place on the mediums at the moment. Aura, after that pit stop, now in 9th. The question is that on hards or on mediums? That's on the mediums now. And then a 15-second advantage more or less down to Welsh, Stick, and then and Grosso and Epix. Still around that 2-second advantage for T5 on Sparks. So here, the battle for P5 with Halbstack, Schosse and Martin. Let's go on board with the Dutchman for a minute and just see how he's looking to go at it against Schosse ahead there. He looks to get the exit, but isn't really able to do so. And in turn, I think he loses out on a little bit of impetus here, but shouldn't be in too much of a hurry with getting past. Of course, he needs to have a look at getting past somewhat soon, as he does seem to be held up. The problem is that Schosse on those soft tires, they're still working pretty well in the end. Now here on board with Halbstack, seems to be breaking away at the moment. Oh, as I say that, a bit of a touch with the outside wall and over the crest. Oh, Schosse is eating into that advantage. Then marooned out in front there, it's Dr. Hash chasing Sparks, hanging on, I'd say, more even, in third at the moment. That damage, that's front aero, left front suspension, if I don't recall completely incorrectly. That is correct indeed. So the question being, will Hash be able to close that 1.2 second gap? Schosse, man, that's Halstag pitting in on the mediums here. Those are, especially the right front, being very worn indeed. That cannot have presented him with a lot of grip in the end here. So interesting to see what it will be leaving the pit lane. That'll be the hearts for Halbstag now. So very different, very mixed strategies indeed, as Aura manages, I think, to squeeze through. It's going to be a very, very tough call for Halbstag on cold hearts to keep anything on the outside, and surely, rightly so, he doesn't. But now look at this. Limitless has actually lost 1.2 seconds down to T5 in second. Look at the tires, they're very worn. That right front just plowing understeer through the hairpin. And T5 looks to be gaining. Not massively, but it's gaining for now. And remember, T5 still has the softs to enjoy for later in the race. Seems like everybody will be on a two-stopper at least here, so it seems at least. I'm not quite sure, but I'd be very surprised to see if anyone can. Saying that, we're getting very close to the halfway marker of the race, actually. So could actually be that we're seeing Limitless, Sparks, and Schosse going for a one-stopper. Having held on for a long time with the softs, and having held on to that race lead for quite a while as well, now beginning the fueling process. Sparks having saved quite a bit of fuel. I guess that's from slipstreaming about further down the order. As Limitless takes a full tank of fuel, 100%. That is... well, we're gonna see if that's gonna be necessary. But medium tires and a full tank of fuel to go the distance. And then exiting the pits in third place, 5 seconds down on the race leader. That's not a bad position to be in whatsoever for the TX3 driver. Who is now no team yet again, but it is with the TX3 livery. So is it TX3 LDLC? I'm not really sure what to say anymore. Still Hash second though. It's gonna be a tough call to defend the advantage over Limitless. Martin in fourth place on the hards as well. We'll try to chase down that 5-second advantage of Dr. Hash out in front. He's getting chased by Schosse at the moment. So he's gotten past on Schosse as well. Schosse picked up some damage. And having fallen quite a bit of way down the order as well. That's bad luck for the championship leader. About to get passed by Sparks, I think. But given that Sparks already made that pit stop, Sparks is now on the hots. They have Aura closing in, but around 7 seconds down in 7th place. And then Halbstag and the Coffee Mobile in 8th. Oh, that's Hash pitting in. Oh, that's interesting as the first of the hard runners. Not that one. The question is, straight onto the softs here. You'll be aiming to do a very, very quick middle stint then. And that looks to be supposed to be a two-stopper for Dr. Hash, though we are just about closing in. Still not exactly at the halfway point. So it's now T5 leading the race by 4.5 seconds. Limitless is there in second with Martin in third. Sparks fourth, Chasse fifth. Then Dr. Hash in sixth place. Of course, it is Limitless in the virtual lead of the race. And let it be in front of Sparks. Chasse has yet to pit in. A bit of a surprise. Haven't done so, I think. Hash, Aura, and Halbstack all having had their first pit stops taken care of. By now, it's Stick in 9th place. I don't think Stick's been in though yet. Let's have a look. Oh, Stick has been in. Stick's on the mediums now, but also carrying some damage. Far from optimal. Bad luck for the Aqua Machine. Very nice livery. That one that generally goes for this series, I think. Splurge in 10th, Welch being made up a couple of places in 11th now, and Grosso in 12th. So the second of the Netso cars not having found a whole lot of luck here. And same goes for Epix, I think, in 13th place at the moment in the Monster Machine. But leading it is T5 Black, the Swedish survivor. Seems to go very well for how this race has been so far, but T5, mind you, has yet to do his first pit stop. And it is getting spread out, at least between the top 3 runners here, the virtual top runners, the drivers who've had their first pit stops taken care of already. Let it be. Oh, Martin has to be careful with that. So easily goes wrong, but Limitless, Sparks, Hash, and Aura Hash just get passed on Chasse. In front already. Chasse very quickly losing out to Dr. Hash. I'd say I think the German has to make that pit stop soon, as we are by now halfway through the race. Indeed, this is the half the race gone marker. And it's T5 still staying out on the same set of mediums he begun the race upon. In this situation, to be able to go in, switch on to the softs for the end of the race, could still be in a very good position to actually bring the fight to Limitless. It all depends on whether T5 will be able to extend the life of the current set of mediums for long enough while still maintaining pace. How will Martin fare? That's another question. TSR though in a very good position. at least at the moment. So see how it all unfolds over the second part of the race. Certainly it's still all wide open, I think. Aura putting the pressure onto Schosse now. Schosse, who's really losing out on staying out, it seems. And as we're now over halfway in, I'd expect Schosse to come in as well. But look at this here. Aura really closing that gap quickly. Having a good run. Oh, the Netso car in front. Schosse, I think, maybe considering the squeeze. But it wasn't to be. And Aura's up into 6th. Still, it's P1 for T5, though, really having lost quite a bit of the advantages now to... It's down to 2.4 seconds now. And given that was around 4 seconds... Last time we had a look, doesn't look like he's picked up any damage, but he'll have to be pitting in soon. The question is, will he be able to do the remaining, well, it'll be around 15 laps, I think, for T5 to complete on a set of softs. We shall see. Indeed, we shall see. It'll be interesting. Limitless on the edge of things, on the limit. Juan. Or you could say, I need to pee you. Pee du. The Sparks is harrying the back of Martin's car at the moment. Of course, it's Martin on an old set of hearts by now as well. I would expect the Dutchman to be coming in soon here. And Dr. Hash, who Martin was fighting overall, is now closing in after having had his pit stop done. So strategy-wise, I think the Dutchman is losing out so slightly, and Dr. Hash on the softs here on a purple lap now. So is it gonna be a fastest lap for the Doctor here? That'll be an interesting one. T5 is pitting in now as expected. I think Martin doing the same. Very low fuel for the Dutchman. That couldn't be stretched any longer. Just a 10th off of a fastest lap for Dr. Hash. Will be slicing his way up into 3rd place, and now with a good run on Sparks, though he is 7/10 down. But in that big souk indeed, he might even be able to make something happen. Some fresh softs. He will want to send it quickly indeed. He'll be looking for a swift way through, and that might be the compromise for Sparks. Went a little wide over that outside curb. Keep it alive and well, for now at least. Here comes the scary part, if you're talking about overtaking at least. And as you can see, Hash just has to hold off ever so slightly, even as Sparks has a bit of a rub of the wall. Oh, was that contact between the two? Nope, and Hash... Well, someone has kept a gracious hand underneath him, and the car hasn't picked up any damage from that slight scrub against the wall, I think. Same goes for Sparks this time around, though. Could be advantage for Dr. Hash. As it's within 0.3 of a second right about there. It's closing quickly, coming in towards the kink. Sparks gonna go for... Well, not even gonna go for any sort of defense whatsoever. Basically just gives up the spot without fighting too much. And then seeing that Dr. Hash does get a bad run out the chicane, I think comes to regret it a little bit in the end. There will be some time lost for Sparks in that situation, that is for sure. In 4th place at the moment, then it's the Swedish survivor indeed, T5 Black. Aura is in 5th, but Aura is pitting in now as well. That's a bit of a surprise. For me, at least. On with the last set of tires. That'll be the hearts on for Aura now. Perhaps trying to undercut some of the runners around. That's Splurge and Stick just getting ahead, getting the leap on Aura. Joining in 9th place at this time of the race. That's going to be tough to recover from, in my book. Hash is now breaking away from Sparks in 3rd. But let's just see T5 on the softs now. T5 will have to do well to utilize the pace of the softs here, and then to keep them alive and well enough to actually be able to be competitive all the way to the end of the race. With about 14 and a half laps of racing left. Still in behind here, then it's Halbstack in the Coffee Mobile on a bit of an island with a 5.5 seconds front and back. Same goes for Martin distance wise. And then in 7th it's Stick, Aura and Splurge, someone close to one another, although it is closer out in front here. Hash trying to pull away from Sparks. That time around, Hash actually getting that best lap put in. So that's nice. rounds limitless. Medium tires. Bit of wear already. Closing in on the last 10 laps, but there's still quite a bit of way to go. And in the end, it all depends on how many fast laps Hash can get out of those softs that he's running at the moment. They're already getting quite worn. He seems to be pushing a bit too hard. He has the front right dying before the rest. Sparks is in for his final stop. Much needed fuel coming onto the car here, and then it's gonna be a set of mediums. Fresh tires, fuel to go to the end of the race indeed. With 13 laps to go. As you can perhaps hear, I am a little in the tired zone tonight. Not to excuse anything with bad excuses or whatever, but just saying that I'm not completely feeling at the top of my talking game tonight. Do apologize if you feel disappointed. As we see, this Limitless now has lost about a second down to Hash. Also made a mistake on that last lap to not really gain. I think Hash needs to make gains wherever possible here. Come the final 10 laps of the race, it's gonna be a challenge. It's gonna be a big one. It could be a win for Dr. Hash. Come the checkered flag here. Let's see, T5 also kind of interested that he's actually 10 seconds down on Dr. Hash at the moment. So running a fresher set of softs, but with 15 seconds to close up, not quite sure that's going to be really possible for him. That's a pit stop from Stick, coming in from 8th place at the moment. And Grosso in as well. So that's a couple of late stops. Fuel going on. Tires going to be going on. Repairs for Stick as well. And that means he's going to be having a set of softs for his late charge. And the same goes for Grosso as well. And here is Limitless 6 seconds of an advantage for him here at the end. It is indeed closing in. Oh, it is closing in quickly here. This is under 5 seconds now. And the battle for 4th place is still going on as well between Sparks and Martin. I think seems to be tipping the way of Sparks at the moment. 2.2 seconds is the gap down to the dustbin. A fresh set of mediums on Sparks' car. Well, against a relatively fresh set of softs still for Martin's sake. So that's by no means over yet. And then a further 12.5 seconds down to Splurge in 6th place. So oh, look at this Limitless. It's really bleeding time by now. Dr. Hash steadily closing in. And the question is, can he get past? As Halstag is in for a late stop as well. And what's it gonna be? Let's just go on board with Dr. Hash as he goes over the top through Skyline here, and then see that whatever, is that a cafe or a hang glider or something? That looks kind of strange. That's through the dip. Oh! Look how he's eating into the advantage of Limitless here. I think Limitless could have had some kind of problem. And I think he indeed has had some kind of problem because he's picked up damage as well. I'm not quite sure we were able to just catch what actually happened to Limitless there, but deeming it bad enough to go for a late pit stop. That's gonna hand the lead to Dr. Hash, and that's gonna hand Dr. Hash an 8-second advantage down to T5, who in turn I think could go on to grab 2nd place away from Limitless as well. But that's sure gonna be a battle. Limitless with good pace, as long as the car seems to be working here. Limitless is back out as well. So not losing out on 2nd place, and that is at least something. And then it's still Sparks, Martin, Splurge, Aura, and Halbstag in the top 8. So that kind of robbed us of a good battle, in the sense that Dr. Hash is now more or less comfortably in the lead. Limitless, as I would expect, didn't change tires as Halbstag pits in. And that's gonna lend or give 8th place away to Stick, for now at least. This is now T5 quickly catching up to Limitless over the course of this lap. And the Swede really seems to be on a roll. We're on board here with the Swedish Survivor. 2:11.9 on that last lap. That's not bad at all. And now on the bumper of the LDLC TX3 machine in front. And isn't going too defensive here as well, Limitless. That has to be said. That's T5 up into 2nd place. That's brilliant indeed. The question is, oh, as Hash is pitting in now. Dr. Hash is pitting in. Instead, is he coming in for those mediums that we might have expected him to come in for late? I think he's gonna give up that lead position as well. Oh well, what a surprise. What a turn of events in the end. Pretty unexpected, it has to be said, for me at least. But that's Hash out on a fresh set of mediums with enough fuel to complete the race. He was gonna be short on fuel as well. The question now is going to be able to catch up to Limitless in front. That's a 5-second advantage. Of course, fresher tires on the machine of Dr. Hash, so the chance is there for it to happen, but I think it could go and be a difficult one indeed. And in the newfound now very close battle for the lead, it is still just that, with 0.7 of a second separating T5 Black with the TX3 Limitless. TSR doing nicely for themselves here tonight, being involved where they want to be involved, but with T5 Black, that's a very nice drive from the Swedes so far. Now pulling out the advantage to the German behind. Oh, good evening, Benjit. Nice to have you along. I hope you're doing well. You've tuned in here with just about 7-8 laps of racing left. 7-8? 7-8 laps? It's gonna be 8 laps of racing remaining here as T5 Black is in the lead. Still, and he's gaining pretty well on Limitless in that TX3 machine. Splurge with a late stop here as well. And indeed, Addy, it is a pleasure to see. Den svenska överlever. That's Swedish for the Swedish survivor. Or it's what you could call pølsesvensk, sausage Swedish. I guess that is when we Danes try to talk Swedish but isn't really able to. I'm sorry, Dan, I won't make fun of your nation anymore. Like brothers we are, picking on each other, the Danes and the Swedes. But it is indeed T5 with an advantage that's still building. 1.7 seconds. And still it seems to grow here. Nicely so, gets a very nice run out. Down to the Conrad straight. Here's Hash. Now still in third place and actually also closing down Limitless in front. It was 5 seconds as he came back from that late splash and dash. So it's picked up about 1.5 seconds at the current moment. Could look like things are coming together as well between Martin and Sparks. That gap looks smaller than it was earlier on. So the Dutchman really chasing down Sparks as well. It's been an unpredictable race, that much it's been for sure. Man, still a lot of stuff might happen, but I have to admit, it's looking very good indeed for T5 Black, who is continually extending the advantage over Limitless in the TX3 car. Those mediums on Limitless machine is really also getting worn by now, so that really explains the time that's being bled away here, and almost lost it as well. As Hash is looking to cross the line. Look at that. A new fastest lap for T5 Black. First and only driver to make it into the 210s. From what I'm aware of, at least. That's a pretty nice one indeed. It's been a very good drive for T5 Black so far. It's looking to be the first win of the Swede here in the GT86 Cup. And Dr. Hash wants that second place as well. I think these three are going to be splitting the podium places between them. It's just in what order, although Sparks at around 6 seconds down. Won't take any big mistakes from those up here to open the door for those in behind. The question is, Limitless lost a lot of time scraping the outside wall. I think those tires really beginning to suffer, and Dr. Hash is now right on the bumper. Yeah, here it is gonna be the move. Limitless is gonna try to defend the inside line, but the run too good for Dr. Hash. And not a chance of any kind of cutback for that matter. Dr. Hash up into second place. And they can still see T5 out in front. But with 3.6 seconds of an advantage for the Swede now, it is going to require a mistake, I think, from his part to allow any of these two back into the lead battle yet again. And we're going to have to see whether he can keep the pressure on. Dr. Hash here in second place. He's gaining quite quickly. So we're gonna follow this closely all the way to the line. Still all to play for. The top three separated by just 5 seconds here after an hour and almost 10 minutes of racing. So it is still very close. That gap up to T5 is being demolished at the moment. And those softs are beginning to die. And Dr. Hash, in the end, might just have made the right call coming in for mediums at a late point in the race. Because that fresh tire advantage of, well, it could have been any tire basically, but having the mediums here at the end certainly seems to be a good card to play. And he's closing the gap very quickly at the moment. And there's 4 laps of racing left as they come across the line here. But it's down to 2.5 seconds between our 2 leaders. And what I thought just a couple of laps ago to be a safe advantage for T5 Black could turn out to be very much the opposite. And there is indeed a lot of surviving to be done if Dr. Hash does indeed get up and getting close in behind in the slipstream. Look at how he's gaining through the corners. Several tenths of a second through every corner. That's going to be very difficult indeed. T5 is coming up towards some traffic ahead here at this very moment as well. It's down to 2 seconds. Jimmy, that's another thing we've been in sync with. I had a pizza too today. So I can't blame you. Look at that here down the mountain, Dr. Hash. Oh, losing a bit of time. It was 2 tenths and a bit of a touch of the barrier, but I think he got away with it. Just to scare Pizza Gang for life represent. Another slide and another slight gain for T5 out in front as well. And down here as well, it's Limitless going absolutely forward with Sparks, who's coming up from behind to grab away 3rd place. Oh, they're gonna go very close to one another. And it's Limitless hanging out. They're still side by side coming on towards the final corner, but it is Sparks with the inside line. I don't see any chance from Limitless to really defend that one in the end. And through goes Sparks up into 3rd place. Somehow managed to mess up the replay of that one. Well, that's kind of annoying. Oh, look at this. Still 1.8 second for T5 down to Dr. Hash. Seems it's stagnated. Tires are still fresh for the German. Shouldn't be a problem, really. Really does seem to be refining his rhythm here at T5 Black, indeed. That it's exactly what it is. Jimmy the Scorpio blood, the love of pizza and coffee. Oh, Hash. So close to pinning it there, but I think T5 might have done so. He's keeping it alive, though he lost out big time on the downhill here. And that car in front is getting blue flagged, but it's pulling away from our race leader at the moment. And just as strongly as he was going earlier, look how Dr. Hash is closing that gap. T5 Black just having another look at why he went so slowly. I thought he had some kind of problem before. He most certainly didn't. He was just trying to keep it out the wall, I think. And to be absolutely sure he wouldn't have any kind of freak accident coming on towards the penultimate lap by now. With a 1.1 second advantage. And at the current rate of time loss for T5 Black, I don't think he's gonna hold on to this one. This isn't a track where you can just defend. But of course, Hash will have to carry out the move, and it is gonna be a late one if it's gonna be there now within a second. And indeed, Dagger, very much so. It's been a very good run for Sparks. It's been very consistent as well. I did have some poor luck in the beginning, being collected there by Welsh early on, but it's come back strongly from that. Now it's half a second here as Hash is now really getting close. And let's hop on to the T5 Wang Cam. Yeah, he's gonna have to turn that 86 into a Supra to make it wide enough. I think it's gonna be a close one, but let's see this time around. He's able to keep the advantage, seems to get a good run. To get a very good run, actually. Hash is in the slipstream, but it's not going to be this time around. On board now with Dr. Hash through that final chicane. And Martin's gone past on Limitless as well. And Limitless somehow having gone into ghost mode. Patrick Swayze here. Oh, that's not full ghost mode though. We're gonna see how wide he's gonna have to make that Subaru. Yes, it is indeed Subaru 1 and 2. Dan does deserve it, but you know what, Jimmy, both of these lads deserve the victory, I'd say, in this race. None more so than the other here, as T5 just about keeps it in. Here comes Hash with the brilliant exit and the launch on the outside. He has the run, he has the line, and he brings it just around in the braking zone on the final lap. Dr. Hash takes the lead. And that's surely going to be the win in the back for the German here. T5 instantly losing out, and he's instantly 0.6 of a second behind. Will there be a comeback from the Swedish survivor? A very nice move indeed from Dr. Hash. Oh, T5 almost overcooks it. And he loses. It's now over a second. So here it is. The battle in full between the two here as we go on board with Dr. Hash. Just see the run he has on the outside. Just before braking, turns it in, and he's in front. A very nice move, utilizing that extra grip. Those fresher mediums. T5's tires, they look like this. They are very dead indeed. It's getting close to the rim with that right front. And as such, it was very close for T5 Black. So close to a win, but it's going to be second in the end as Dr. Hash rounds the corner. He's going to take the checkered flag for his first win of the GT86 Cup held by TSR. A very nice race from both of these drivers, finishing just about a second from one another. And then it's going to be Sparks for TX3 rounding off the podium. A very nice finish indeed. The little brown lump has done it. What a finish. What a finish indeed. Martin for TSR as well, home for 4th place. It's going to be Aura here coming home for 5th. having gotten the better of Limitless as well, but I think Limitless is on pause, so something must have happened there, I'm sure of. Here it's Welsh and then Grosso going for it as well, and that last lap. Well, that's Welsh under some heavy pressure as well. And I think the Welshman is gonna hold on. Oh, she goes very wide. And can the line come soon enough? Just about so. Talk about taking it all the way. Stick home for 9th place. And Grosso. What happened there? Halbstack with some kind of issue in the coffee car, seems to have had an unlucky run indeed. So what a run, what a battle in the end. The battle for the lead that changed all the way around, all the way through the race. For Dr. Hash to have it late, to lose it at that late pit stop, to take it right back there on the last lap. Brilliant performance indeed. Brilliant performance. So here you have it, the race results. And for just a short moment, we shall go to the bouncy heads. And we shall go back to the bouncy heads for the invitation of our drivers to the party of the post-race press conference. More bouncy heads for the invites to go out. It's going to be Hash. It's going to be T5, and it's going to be Sparks. Let's see if we can get a couple of words out of our podium finishers. What a race that got so hot at the end. I hope you enjoyed that one. I certainly did. And we have Sparks with us. 3rd place for you, Sparks, after a more than chaotic, I think would be safe to say, first lap and a bottle qualifying as well. I think all that taken into consideration, it isn't too bad at all.
Yeah. It was a shame, really, because after that qualifying session, I was like, I think mediums would have been the best tyre to go for. But after getting damage, after hitting someone, unfortunately, I was like, just continuing the race, see how it pans out, and ended up getting 3rd in the end, which I'm really happy with.
Yeah, but that makes perfect sense. And what was your take on what happened with you and Welsh there on the first lap?
To be honest, I cannot really remember it clearly. I have to look back at the replay. From what I remember, because race started, cold tyres, just understeered, and I was hoping he would be ghosted, but that was to be the case. So I ended up hitting him, and racing incident, it just happened, unfortunately. So.
All right. Well, Sparks, congrats on 3rd place, given your whatever bad luck you've met on the way, fighting through to the podium. That's a good job. Let's go on to T5, top runner of the TSR gang today, Scandinavian Power, and your first podium finish, but it was so close to being a win today. How did you feel on that last lap?
I ran wide in the turn 2, and Hash couldn't take me on the inside, so I maybe could have struggled, but I don't know.
And brilliant strategy and a very nice job to keep it running for a long time there early on the mediums and just to pull off of the one stop. Did you ever think of going on to the hards late race to have fresher tires?
No. I wanted to go all the way out on the fuel on the mediums and then just do one stop and fuel up and go to the soft to the end.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna say I think also it's a bit of a shame that you didn't win, but also I think Hash deserved it. But I think you deserved it as well. And could we have had 2 winners? I think we should have had. We should have had it today, but that's not the case in motorsports. But congrats on P2 and on a fantastic race. Anyways, T5, great having you along.
Yeah, thank you.
And with that, we're gonna go on to the brown lump of love. Our winner today, Dr. Hash. What a race! What a performance! Give us your take on your final lap there.
Yeah, thank you so much. Congrats, guys. Well done.
Thank you.
Great racing.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was really incredible. I was able to pull off a good pace on the hards, on the start, and I think this is what made this all happen. I wasn't sure about the strategy because it seems like one stop could be fast, but I wasn't sure about that. So in the end of the day, I was able to catch up these guys, and yeah, it was an incredible last lap. Like he said, he went wide turn 2, and that gave me the opportunity to attack him. I wasn't sure if he was gonna try to defend, but he didn't, so that was easy, but the race itself was really intense. I'm still shaking. This is, yeah, it's been a while on the top spot podium.
Indeed, it has. I'm glad to see you on the top spot. That's for sure. So with that, congrats to our winner, Dr. Hash. Congrats to the podium, and thanks to all the drivers for taking part in yet another great round of the TSR GT86 Cup. With that said, from me, DirtenDK here on Half the Race Gone, that will be all for tonight. I'll leave you with this. So if you've liked what you've seen, like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll be back this coming Sunday with a double header and even 2 streams at the same time, because the Daddy Martin and the Daddy Traels, they're going to be running the 6 hours of Barcelona in iRacing. I'm going to be streaming. I'm going to be streaming with them as crew chief, but I'm going to be hopping off to do the NES race on Sunday as well. So a lot of action coming in this coming weekend here on the channel. Ta-da! Thanks to everyone for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. And, well, as mentioned before, I think all that's left for me to say is until next time, take care, have fun, and bye-bye.